Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I guess, if you're on the East Coast. Hi, everyone. Welcome to office hours. We might as well just get started. If you have a question for Yvonne, please just let us know by raising your hand, so they'll know to call on you. With these, I never know how many people to expect. So, but take advantage perhaps of a few less people by asking your question. All right. Well, thank you, Amanda, for getting us started.
Hello, thank you. So I sent an email to you guys at the end of the week last week about sponsorships. And so I've decided, yeah, that an ad hoc form is the better route to go. So I've been working on our site, and I'm part of Iowa Public Procurement. I think I've got some sponsorships sorry, once you log in the upper right hand corner, I do have a sponsorship sites. And I've got the ad hoc form set up, but when I tested one out to fill it out, it didn't make me pay, or didn't take me to a payment screen. So I'm not sure what I did wrong.
Okay, let's take a look. Ad hoc forms under communications tab, at least for now.
Yep.
Who knows when they change things a lot. Let's see, is that
Any of the bottom four.
this one? Okay. Let's see. Member fee, non-member fee. Okay. Oops, did the same thing. And June is getting notified.
That's the intent, yep.
Let's see. This one might end up being a Kaylee question because she knows a little bit more about, she's created sponsorships through ad hoc forms. But let me just keep looking at this. And I'm looking for. Okay, no attachments. All right, so attachments, just want to take a look at that real quick. So it's already active, so you can't make changes. Okay. So when you did it, were you logged in as yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just take a look at something here. So you have it, first of all, it's not, you don't have the sponsor, you know that though, right? You don't have the sponsorship.
Yeah, I didn't want it actually live yet until
Okay.
I could collect money.
All right.
Oh, I need to change that one. Yep.
Okay. Here.
Just put 6.
Yep. Okay, so that's not going to work. Let's go back.
Change it to short text.
Yeah, wasn't sure if formatted had, or not format, if there was a zip code one, but it doesn't look like it. And you can do,
Yeah.
what is that? You can do 10, what is it, 6 plus
Sure.
4, which would actually, if they put the hyphen, would be
I
11.
think 11, yeah. Yeah, good. You'll have to go, but you changed that in the supporting sponsor one. Go down one more on the
Oh, sorry, thank you.
list.
Wasn't it this one? Oh,
No, you
this,
did the
I'm sorry,
buttons.
you're right,
Yeah,
right,
yep.
yes. And I already put my name in there. Hmm.
Maybe all this information is not necessary. I don't know.
Right, it's kind of a, yes, you may think about getting rid of some of this or not
Yeah.
making it required.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you were logged in, if that's what would have.
Hmm.
But I don't see why that would have. It
Because
should,
yeah, I tried to fill it out and then it just hit submit and it said it submitted and I got an email that someone submitted a form and I'm like, wait a minute. And there's supposed to be another step.
yeah, so what I would do is I would go through this, go through each one. First of all, change your
Okay.
zip code from a
Yeah.
number to a
Yeah.
short text.
Yeah.
And then go through each one, logged out, just copy the URL, logged out, make sure you get to this. And then of
Sure.
course, you're gonna have to go in and cancel
Yeah.
the open invoice.
Okay.
So
Okay.
do that real quick.
Okay.
for
I'll
you.
take a peek. Thank you.
Mhm.
Just to add, there is a formatted text that is zip code.
There is, okay, good.
And formatted text is when it kind of, you get that autofill feature. So if you choose the question or the answer type formatted text, there's an answer format that is US zip code. So if that person has autofill, it will autofill.
Good. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm able to delete this
Oh, okay.
from here. Might be, I'm not sure with what access we have for all of your sites on how much admin we are able to do. I know we can't do everything. So let's just look and see if we can delete it here. Responses. Yeah, withdraw. Okay. So now there won't be an open invoice showing up in your pending accounts.
Okay.
Does that help you out?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
Does anyone else have a question for Yvonne? I don't see any hands. I should let you know, for those of you that are on the call, some of you have been coming up on your anniversary of your site, and with that is the SSL certificate renewal. And basically that is the security for your site. That had been something that you were receiving emails that it was coming up due, but we have I went through all of the sites and auto renewed it. So you won't have to worry about that anymore. That will be auto renewed and NIGP receives the charge for that 1-year renewal. So just to let you know about that. So you won't have to worry about that. So yes, this is a great example because their SSL certificate expires on the 7th of September. So coming up. So just to let you know that that has been taken care of and you shouldn't be receiving any more notifications. So also just based on that, I'll bring up based on Amanda's questions, another way that I had set up purchasing a sponsorship was using the storefront, right? So that the sponsor category is actually a product in the store.
Do you know one of the sites you did that for? And yeah, I was gonna say there's two other options as well. What's the, do you know one of the ones?
That was for Wisconsin. Yeah,
We can take a look at that real quick. Is there Storefront?
and sponsorship opportunities. And, yeah, purchase a silver sponsorship. So there it is in the store.
One of the nice things about doing, and one of the nice things about doing an ad hoc form is you can require them to upload their logo while they go through while they're filling out the ad hoc form. It's, most sponsorships, you want their logo. So, you don't have to go reach back out to them or anything like that to get their logo. If you do it through an ad hoc form and turn it on, that you require them to upload a document. Another option that some of you use is for sponsorship is creating a multi-activity event and posting it on your calendar or posting a link to it somewhere on your website. And then when they go to register for the event, they choose which activity, which would be the different sponsorship levels at different costs. And that might be good for you, especially if you have limits on, for instance, maybe you have platinum sponsorships, but you only allow one, and then you have gold sponsorships that you allow up to 3, because with the multi-activities, you can also set up the registrant maximum for each of the multi-activities.
We do have a video in our video library that was made by Devin at ClubExpress specifically about this, exactly setting up a multi-activity event. Where you have actually it's a single activity usually event for your practitioner registrations, and then you have a separate event, multi-activity event that is for your exhibitor sponsors. So they're two separate, and then because your practitioner participants don't need to see all the sponsorship and exhibitor information. And then it is, as Yvonne mentioned, that they can select and you can set limits. So there is a video in our YouTube channel on that. If you want, if anyone wants me to send them that video, a link, let me know. You can also go to our YouTube channel and it is there, but actually.
Is there a link here too? Or?
Yeah, it should be there.
So this is, in case you don't know, under your About tab when you're logged in, under your About tab, the admin only FAQs. And this is where a lot of Ronnie's videos and information on doing different things is put in here.
Yeah, it should be there. If you search at the top, you should be able to just put events, but it could be under events too. So there you go. Creating multi-activity events for conferences and reverse trade shows. There, right there. And there's the video. Yeah. And yes, I can put the link here in chat. So give me a second to go get it. But
do you want this link?
sure, yeah. If you have it already open, that'd be great.
This is a guide on how to use
Sorry
the
about
ClubExpress event calendar module to create an NIGP conference style
Trying to
multi-activity
Find
event.
move these things
To
around
create
and pause.
I can just copy it also if it's easier.
I got it here.
Okay, and we can put it in chat.
Okay.
But that is used specifically, like, so for instance, Wisconsin is probably a good example. They had event sponsorships, which means that they wanted to get sponsors for their reverse trade show or their conference or whatever. But then they also had one annual sponsor where somebody, get recognition on their website. And so that you wouldn't necessarily build within an event because it's not related to an event. That's a annual thing. So they are going to build it separately where they have it in the store, and then when they build their event, they'll create a multi-activity event for their event sponsors, so.
Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Randy, you have your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So our renewals, they go out 120 days prior to the expiration date. We have one of our agencies that is asking for an invoice now. Is there a way to pull to see what the invoice is gonna be, or how do we look at that? I guess it takes them a while for them to approve their invoices at their agency.
And which group are you with?
Southeast Florida chapter.
Okay, so we were going to talk about renewals today, so this brings us right into our next discussion, so this is good. Because it is coming up to time for everybody for renewal. So I'm gonna go through a lot of the renewal process, make sure that everybody knows the things that you should be checking, especially if this is gonna be the first time you're renewing. But let's just look at your renewal settings under the People tab. And you say you have your first notice, so that you're sending 3 notices to your members. The first notice is going out 120 days before renewal, 30 days before renewal is the second. And then the -10 means that this third email is going out 10 days after the membership expires. So the only time you can send out an email after the membership expires using a negative number is if you're sending all 3 renewal notices, and it can only be the third notice, just as an FYI. Okay, so now with that question, with me showing you that, then your renewal cycle is January 1st, and there's 2 different things you can do. Let's see, people options. So let me go back to that here. Again, people tab, people options. There is an option to set up, can members renew early? And what this does is when somebody goes into their profile, which I'm probably not, I don't have a profile. This is what I was saying. I have limited things in ClubExpress for all of your sites that I'm able to do. When I try to go to my profile, it doesn't allow me to go to my profile. But if by all means, go to your profile on your website and take a look. And if you are allowing renew early, let me just see here. What you should see, I believe this site allows for renew early, and I can go into my profile here and then see, it'll add this box here in the member profile that allows somebody to renew themselves early outside of that 120 day. So the person that you're discussing, Randy, they should be able to log into their profile and renew early because you have that turned on. The other option is, what is the name of the person or company?
It's Broward College.
Okay, so let's do one filter. Member level, primary. Okay, so this as an admin, you can go to their profile and you can renew them early yourself. So that is, I don't know which one it is. I'm not going to do it, but this little black button here is the renew button. So you would just click on this, and then it's going to make you go through the whole process as if you were Broward College logged in, meaning it's going to bring up the profile name, the profile information, so that they're not able to make any changes during the renewal process if you do it this way. They can, of course, log into their profile and make changes at any time, but you may want to tell them, instead of you doing this process for them, to go to their login, go to their profile and click on that link to renew early.
Okay, thank you.
So does anybody have any questions about that before I go back to discussion a little bit about renewal settings? Nope. Okay. So just in case, I'm just gonna go over this quickly. If somebody needs more information, let me know. But I talked about the renewal notices 1, 2, and 3. And if you haven't yet customized renewal notices 1, 2, and 3, that can be done under the communications tab and the system emails. And if you just do you can either scroll down or just type in a find. But here are the renewal notices 1, 2, and 3. Renewal notice number 1, renewal notice number 2, renewal notice number 3. All 3 of these will not go out unless you have them turned on to go out. And again, renewal notice number 3 is the one that's going to go out after, the way that she has it set up, after the renewal has expired. So here, for instance, you've got it to go out 10 days after, but 10 days after does not mean it will expire on. It's expired on. So you'll probably want to customize this email. Otherwise, it may confuse them because it's going to automatically it's going to send this email out the way that your settings are set up right now. It's going to send this invoice out roughly January 10th. And it's going to say your membership in your organization will expire on December 31st of 2025. Does that make sense to everybody?
Oh, it's already expired, so that's why you want to say expired on.
Right. So you're going to want to customize this email to say that your membership expired on instead of, and do whatever other customization you want to do. When you do customization of an email, let's just say I change this to expired on. And I also don't like this. They don't have a period after this. So I'm just going to add a period there. And I'm going to hit save. Now, as soon as I do that, this green check mark appears, which tells me that I have done something in that email. I've customized it somehow. If you decide that you don't want that customization, you can hit, now this trash can appears, and I can hit the trash can and it's going to revert back to what it was originally, which is ClubExpress's generic renewal notice number 3. And if I click on that, it says it went back to will expire on without a period. That is good to know, especially if you mess up something here. These are system tags. When you see the double tilde here, it is a system tag, and you never want to mess up the system tag. Even by eliminating one of the double tildes, you've just messed up that system tag. And now when the person gets the email, they're going to actually see your membership in club name instead of prior your membership in, and then your club name, your association name is going to automatically populate into there. So if you ever, that's why you want to be very careful not to mess up these system tags. So I'm going to cancel that. Another thing that you,
One thing, Yvonne, also, just to, so at NIGP, we use our renewal emails as somewhat of a marketing tool, right? Because this is where you're saying, listen, this is what you're getting from your association with our chapter. If you don't renew, you lose that, right? So it's kind of, you could add to this some of the benefits of membership that they would lose if they didn't renew. So these are actually great vehicles for communication because people actually read their renewal emails, right? So.
Yes, absolutely. And you can actually, if you send it the way it is, so as you're aware, the system emails are pretty generic because they are created for every single ClubExpress client, be it a organization like yourself or a bike riding organization or a sailing organization, or so there's just a ski clubs, there's a gamut of it totally ranges. So they're very, very generic. So it's a very good idea to customize. And you can even include a graphic. So here, create a graphic, renew, you can do some things where you put different benefits of membership. You can give more specific information on how to renew. You can do bullet points. You can do a lot of things in here. Now, if you don't have a graphic at the top and you don't want to get into making it that fancy, what they're going to get is a generic email like this, just text. And then your logo will appear at the top. It'll just be your logo at the top. So at least there's some image. It's going to be your logo. And where that logo is that logo is where you have uploaded under your chapter club. So chapter tab, club logo. So there is no club logo here. So I'm wrong. This email would not have a logo at the top. So you'll want to upload your logo under chapter tab, upload club logo. And that's where the logo appears on invoices, on system emails, on event registration emails. This is where it comes from. And it says to make your logo about 150 by 150. Okay. Now going back to the system emails, another thing you can do is you can configure, you can either configure defaults up here, which will make every single email the same from unless you override it. You can say that you want this email always to come from a vanity email, or maybe you have president at email address, and then do you want a specific from name? Do you want it to be a person, or do you want it to be NIGP South Florida chapter? Something like that. And then you can add a reply to address here. And this up here will automatically set the settings for every single one of the emails unless you override it. And you can override, for instance, maybe you want your membership renewal emails to be coming from your membership chair. So you can go to this wrench here and you can say, you can even add your own subject line instead of it being the generic subject line that ClubExpress sends out. You can do NIGP South Florida chapter renewal notice. And maybe the second one is renewal reminder, etc. And maybe this one, you want this one to be coming from membership chair at, if you have that generic email address. And maybe you want, I don't recommend putting somebody's name here of the current membership chair, because chances are next year or the year after, that person's name is not going to be, that person's not going to be the membership chair anymore. And then what's going to happen is you're going to forget, and it's going to have the wrong person's name there. So I would still just, I would recommend just doing NIGP South Florida or something. And then another very important thing in your system emails is tracking emails. I recommend on any emails that are emails that automatically that you use. As you can see in these system emails, there are a lot of system emails that maybe you never ever use. For instance, I don't know if you approve memberships, prospective memberships, but if you don't approve, if you don't have your website set up that somebody has to approve a prospective member, then they're never going to be approved or declined. So this is never going to be an email that you're going to use. If you're not using e-learning module, you're never going to use those. So you don't have to customize those. But the ones that you do use, or the ones that get used a lot, I recommend turning on tracking. And as soon as I turn on this tracking, I'm going to see a gear, and then I'm going to see this here. This will tell me, I can go here and I can look to see who received the email. As an example, I'm going to look up renewal notice number 1 from this site, and it's going to tell me that this person received her email on 8/11, but she hasn't opened it. This person received their email on 8/11, and they did open it at 8/13. So that's pretty important, especially when you get somebody who says, well, I'm not receiving the renewal notices. Well, you can say it was sent at such and such a time on such and such a date. And sometimes it goes into their spam, and it makes it easier for them to find, as well as, I get a lot of people who say, well, I never got it. And I look in there and I say, yeah, you did. You got it. And you opened it. So, of course, the other caveat to that is there are settings in individual emails that you can, so this is basically the system is asking for an open receipt. And if you turn off in your email that, if you have your email settings that you do not give opening receipts out, ClubExpress may not know that that person opened the email. So that's one little caveat to it, but it's a pretty good tool. I would recommend using it. And before we move on, does anybody have any questions about any of that? Or comments?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. Were there, Ronnie, do you think there's any other renewal settings that might be important? Well, I know in the,
It might be what you can include on your renewal, right? The information to make sure you are checking all the information that you want to include when you ask people to renew, right?
yeah. And here's a good thing also. Now is a good time to double check a few of these things. We had a couple months ago, this question come up because secondary members, if your organization has the agencies and they have the primary and then the secondary, a lot of people did not have detailed info turned on. They had basic, which basically only makes them put in the first name and the last name. It does not have, you do not have to put the company or any of that information in. In fact, it doesn't even ask you for the company name. So for if you have agency, primary, and secondaries, you want to make sure that detailed info is clicked. And it's very, very important, especially for, secondary members. I don't think any of you have tertiary, but secondary members, you want to make sure you're getting their email address. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to send them emails. So you don't want to do not capture or make it optional. You want to make sure that their email address is required. So now's a good time to take a look at that and make sure that you have the settings set up the way you want. Go to the control panel, people tab, and people options, and make sure you have everything set up the way you want. I'm sorry, people options, not privacy options, people options. Now, under the new member sign up is where there's going to be a few other options that you might want to take a look at. You want to make sure under the membership renewal wizard here. So this is the new member. So this is when somebody first joins, and this first column is what the member gets when they're joining and what admins get or see and have to go through when they're looking at somebody's profile. And same here under the membership renewal. And then there's the first login. So the first login, I'll start with that. That makes it's in other words, when somebody joins and it's the first time they've logged in, or somebody gets added, because when they're joining, they're actually going through the process. But if somebody gets added to the website, the first time they log in, they get an email, they say, you've been added to the website, here is your username and password. And then when they first log in, if you click on some of these things, it'll make them go through the process. If you're capturing additional member data, you want to make sure that on first login, they're required to go to the additional member data page and click on all of the questions that you have. If you're using member interests, you want to make sure that you have this clicked for first login. If you're requiring people, for instance, maybe to upload a certificate or a driver's license, you want to make sure that member attachments is clicked on. So that would be under first member or first login, and you'd want to make sure you enable first login, and then you would click the things that you wanted them to go through the process when they first log into the website. And then for the renewal wizard, same thing. If you are capturing additional member data and they've done it in the beginning when they first joined, but now it's time to renew, some of those questions might change. Some of the answers to the questions might change. So you want to make sure you're enabling that they have to go through all the additional member data questions when they renew. And that goes back to the question where somebody was asking about renewing early. And if they renew early, and you have additional member data questions enabled that they have to go through the additional member data questions when they renew. If they click here, they're gonna go through all those processes. If you renew them, then you're still gonna go through all the processes and you're gonna get the additional member data questions and you're not gonna change any of the answers. And that's why I discourage, if possible, renewing them yourselves. Try to get them to go here and renew themselves with the renew early button, so that they do update all their information.
And
Or
so based on that, though, you can also create new additional member data questions. Like, so for instance, if you decide, oh, wow, I didn't know about this, right? That I can enable this on first login, right? I'd really like to know how many years somebody has been in the profession, right? You can go and create that additional member question, and Yvonne will show you. And then when somebody logs in for the first time, if you make it required, they have to answer that and then update it, next year, or, right? Is that correct, Yvonne? Each year they would have to update it. So that's a great feature, because we struggle with that at NIGP. That is information we'd love to track, but we don't have that ability to force people to update it. So.
Yes. So, and you can make them the question is either required or optional. You can also make it just admin only. Here you can have it where the member sees the information, or maybe you only want the admin to see the information, or public, if you want public to see the information. And you can add additional questions at any time. You can delete questions at any time. But the other thing that you can do, a member can at any time, they don't have to update their information during the renewal process. They can go anytime into their member profile and go to their additional member data and update the information that they have there if they want. Now, there's also, before I misspeak, I just want to look at something really quick. Yeah, so you can also create a mailing list or send out an email to people who answered one of the additional member data questions in a specific way. By members with a specific answer to a club question, there should be, let's see, maybe you want to, let's see, birthday. I don't know which question would be good to ask for this group. Let's see, but you see where I'm going with this. Maybe one of your questions might be, maybe would you be ever interested in volunteering on a committee, for instance? And they answer yes. And now you've got a committee, something you need to get done, and you could send an email to everybody who answered yes to that question saying, we have a new committee coming up and we're looking for volunteers. So that is a little neat tool you might want to consider using in the future if you're not already using it. Anything else or any other questions about that?
Questions? I don't.
Or questions on
Oh,
anything?
Donna has her hand up.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Donna.
So I've been trying to think of how to ask this in a way that makes sense. So sometimes we have a mix of agency members and regular members, which agency member is the primary secondary setup. And sometimes the agency will be like, well, we have some new people and also we need to renew, and can you just fix it for us? Which is fine. My question is, I am probably not adding new secondary members in the most efficient way? And also, is there a, sorry, I'm asking this very poorly, is there a better way or an easy way to both add a brand new person to a primary secondary relationship and renew people in that primary secondary relationship without it renewing the person you just added?
Okay, so which group are you with?
Sorry, I'm with Co-op, Central Ohio.
Okay.
Should have said that first.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, so let's see. Under people options, there's a question here for charge for membership changes made through the profile. And can secondary members be added outside the sign up and renewal wizards? So this would be, these are some of the settings that you're talking about with that the second half of your question. As far as making them pay for a new secondary member, if they come in mid-year. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, in part.
Yes. So the way that this is set up now is you're charging for people for changes. So in other words, if somebody joined mid-year, they would be charged. But you're not allowing the organization to add the secondary member mid-year. So this looks to me as if the admin, an admin can add a secondary member mid-year, but not the actual agency primary member.
Sure. That was a change I made very recently because an agency kind of screwed up trying to add people. And so I'm right now I'm a little frustrated with them because none of them ask questions. They just do stuff and then I have to go and fix it. So I had recently changed that setting thinking, oh, that will prevent anybody from just doing weird stuff. Right. So now will we change that? Possibly, but that was like, and by recent I mean like in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, good.
So
okay, so I'm gonna go through this whole process from start to finish, just because I want to make sure everybody understands this, because this is really tricky. What I have another group do, I don't know how many, let's see, you've got 19 agency members. What I have another group do that have primary and secondary is prior to their renewal process, and it looks like you're on rolling renewals.
we are.
So that's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. So for this portion of it, just ignore what I say. But the people who are on calendar year or a fixed date of renewal, if this might be of interest to you, especially if you don't have a large group of agency members that have, agency members. I have another group. What they do is they would take this list to the 19, they would go to the 19 people and they would say, we're coming up time to renewal in 60 days or whatever. And before we go through the renewal process, we want to make sure that you don't want to make any changes. Currently, Barbara is the primary and these are the secondary. And then a lot, what happens is they respond back and they say, oh, you know what, keep Barbara as primary, but get rid of Kyle and Jessica and add Anne and Barbara, or Anne and Julie. And so then the admin would come in here and remove Kyle and Jessica and add Julie and I forgot the other name, but they would add them. And then when they get the renewal notice, then everything in here is accurate and correct. And they don't have to come back to you and say, oh, I need this renewal invoice is wrong. Because if they renew right now, they're going to get a renewal with Barbara's name on there, and then there's gonna be a charge for Kyle, a charge for Kyle, a charge for Marcia, a charge for Jessica, and a charge for Ron, if you're charging for secondary members. And it gets to be a real pain, because now what you have to do is you have to delete that invoice, because that invoice is no good anymore. Just deleting their secondary members, just after the invoice is created, and just deleting Kyle and dropping him, and deleting Jessica and dropping him, does not remove that initial charge on the invoice. So it's a good idea to try, if you have a small group of agencies, to try to reach out to them like at least 30 days before the first renewal notice goes out to them. Okay, so that's
manually creating that email and inputting the manual information in terms of who the secondary members are.
you're gonna have to go to the, and again, this is why it works if you don't have a ton, but you go to your chapter tab and go to your data export, and you can click down on this people, and you can do active members with secondary and tertiaries. And then what this list will look like is, it'll be a long, actually I'm on Zoom now, so I can do that. There, that's not the list, this one is. Sorry. So this is the primary. And now I didn't do any specific dates. So you can range it by date. So, and I also, this list is going to have all the different member types. But if you look, if they have secondaries, move this Zoom box. If they have secondaries, the secondaries are going to be over here. Okay, so let's just start with this row right here. So Donna is the primary. So you could send Donna an email, and you could say, Donna, right now I have you as primary, and I also have Joe Allen, Brian Browder, etc. So that's how you would sort through this list, but everybody in one agency is going to be in the same row. And the first name is going to be the primary.
So this is not an email that you would necessarily generate through ClubExpress.
Correct, no.
I see, okay.
No, unfortunately, no. So this is just, if you think that this would work for you, it's definitely something you could manage. If you have less than 20, somewhere around 20, you could just send 20 emails, basically. You'd have to personally send 20 emails, but it would not be through ClubExpress. You would have to get Donna's email address and send her an email address. But in the long run, it could help you. Oh, and I got Donna Davies right here, right?
Yeah, it's me. Yep.
Yeah, it's funny that I just pulled that one up.
Yeah.
So going back to the next question. So as we were discussing, if that invoice goes out and you haven't dropped Kyle, you can't just drop him after the invoice has gone out. You have to delete the open renewal invoice, make the changes to the secondary and primary, and then regenerate the invoice with the new, and you have to make sure that, Kyle doesn't have an open invoice on his account. And let's see, I'm just going to do filter. And we'll go here. So here are your additional members. This is how somebody is adding their additional members outside the renewal process. If you're allowing them to add secondary members outside the renewal process, they can add members this way. Or they could give the code to their secondary member and tell them to join with the code. And this is how you would remove them if you're not charging for these, but still, even though you're not charging for these, the invoice is going to list them all. So if later Todd is, and he's still going to be until he's deleted and the invoice is deleted and Todd is deleted, for instance, Todd's always going to show up on your list of on your invoices, somebody that's somebody in your agency, even though he's no longer in your agency.
I have a question real fast while we're on this screen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say specifically what happens to that? So Joe Allen's the first one on that list. If I click that remove button, what happens to Joe Allen's individual profile?
He becomes a, it should be, here, let's do something here. Let's add. And let's just do test. Now, got to scroll down and I have to proceed. Okay, there is no charge for him. And now when I go to test,
$40 next to it, are you sure? Oh, it
Pardon?
did before, sorry. Never mind.
so I'm going to remove and I'm going to save. And now I'm going to look for test. And I'm clicking both and checking all. And test. He became a dropped secondary member.
So it doesn't remove them from being a secondary member, it just drops them.
Correct. And then if you decided that you wanted to add them, maybe you want to keep in touch with them, then unfortunately you have to promote them to a full member first. And then you can expire them. And then you can convert to non-member. It's kind of a pain. It shouldn't be that way. It would be nice if you could go from dropped to non-member, because there are people that even though they're no longer at that agency, maybe they still want to communicate with them, you know, especially if they have a personal email address in their profile.
So if you, let's say Joe still wants to be involved with our chapter, but has moved to a different agency, and I don't want to get rid of his account that has all of his history of meetings and things. I therefore don't want to sorry. Sorry. I therefore don't want to remove him in that way because I don't want him to be dropped. I want to instead change his status in a different way so that he is not dropped, right?
You could, you can unlink a secondary member into a solo. So that is
Right.
this right here, member option. So there's a couple different ways. Maybe you made a mistake and you did it this way. What you could do this way is you can merge his non-active non-member account with his with an active new member account. And that would pull all of his event history, payment history, all of that would still be there, and you'd be able to merge that with the new. So if you did make a mistake, you can clean that up and still keep that information by first, you know, changing them from drop to, you could activate them as a solo member, and then you can change the membership type, or you can activate him as a solo member, drop him to if he's already got another profile, make him a non-member active and merge those. So there's several different ways you can do it. The cleanest, easiest way, if you know that he is going to be moving to a different agency, instead of dropping him in Donna's profile, you would go to member options, clean level changes, and you would unlink him. And so you choose Alan.
Yeah, ALLEN.
Yeah. You would choose him. I'm not going to do it because we're not, you know, I don't want to do that. But you would choose him, and then you would also get the opportunity to pick which type of member he was going to be, right there.
Right. So you don't want to use that. The only reason we want to use the screen that had all the secondary members is if you drop them. If there's some other kind of change, then don't do the trash can, do a different method.
Yeah, and it sounds like from what I've seen, a lot of your people move from agency to agency. So the level change is definitely the better option for you. And
yep.
And there was a $40 mid-year change.
Yep.
Okay, so now that open invoice is gone.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
My goodness, we've gone almost an hour, so I think that will be it for today. So glad you guys were able to join us. We will be doing this 2 weeks from now. So please join us again. I may have Yvonne repeat some of this, I have to say, just because I think this is invaluable information for a lot of other people who are going to be going through the renewals as well. But I don't know if it'll be the next one. It may be in September or something, just to make sure we try to catch as many people as possible. But thank you everyone for joining. And thank you, Yvonne.
Okay, everybody have a good rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.